My name's Chris Johnson. I do some writing for the Cincinnati Beacon, and
Cincinnati Beacon.
It's an online website, all volunteer staff, covers local events, national.
What's the mission of it?
To go where traditional media outlets, I guess, are not.
Conservative bent or liberal bent?
I would definitely say that it's more liberal bent. I would, and that kind of leads into the question I had.
So let me get back to you. Are you going to be here? I'm going to be the last one here, so I'll talk to you later. Okay?
Your assistant was trying to block my camera earlier, and I didn't know if you felt that was an appropriate move. I just want to ask one question of you. It's if you feel it was appropriate for Joel to block my camera.
You do it.
Hey, very good presentation.
Thank you so much.
Did well.
What's your name?
Councilman, Cincinnati.
Pleasure to meet you, Councilman.
Absolutely.
City of Cincinnati?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Chris Johnson. I do some writing for the Cincinnati Beacon.
Good.
Yeah,
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. You didn't have a big opportunity to speak in there, but I just wanted to ask. You were just speaking with Josh Mandel, who was well received by the group in there. One of his campaign people was blocking my camera throughout his entire speech, intentionally taking pictures at me, and Josh can't seem to answer a simple question about why his campaign person was doing it. In fact, the second I even mentioned I wrote for the Beacon, which is obviously more liberally slanted than for this crowd, he told me that he would have to address me later. But you're obviously more liberal than he, and he had time to talk to you. I didn't know if you felt that type of behavior at a public forum is appropriate.
Who was it?
It was a gentleman named Joel who works for Josh Mandel's campaign.
Oh.
Because he told me he thought I worked for the Democrats. That's why he was doing it. And then there was a gentleman who did work for the Democrats next to me who he continued to block. And I videotaped him and took pictures of him blocking the camera. And he apologized to me, but he said that the other gentleman had been disruptive in the past. And I didn't see any disruptive behavior aside from him walking up and sticking his hand in everybody's camera.
This was one of Josh's guys?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't.
We'll have to see about that because we don't like that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean,
not cool.
You don't think that's appropriate, obviously,
Well, no,
right?
yeah. Naturally, it's not appropriate,
Yeah.
But like he said, you gotta be able to allow people to be heard, and whenever that individual steps up to be heard, he has to be prepared to respond to whomever.
Sure.
If there's a camera there taking pictures, fine. When people ask you, be prepared to respond. Don't be.
It's like when you got up on the podium and it said, people are asking me why did I come into the Lion's Den?
Yeah.
And because you got to listen to people whether you like what they're saying or not. And you got a lot of respect for that, and you earned
it. My style has always been since I was a policeman. I had to come in contact with all kinds of personalities, and everyone, all those folks want to do is to be heard,
Yeah.
And if you didn't do that, if I went in with the attitude, I don't want to hear it, shut up, da 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 da, I've just backed myself into a corner. Let people vent.
Right.
During the riots, I had to let these people vent. I didn't like what some of them were doing, but I had to listen to them. And so that's the kind of stuff. Even in here, I want to hear what people are saying. I want to hear the passion and the feelings. And obviously, that's some strong passion and feelings about what's going on in the country. So I got to be prepared to respond to that kind of concern. But if I don't come, if I listen to what all these doggone medias
Yeah, you never know what you're hearing.
Yeah. Everybody was telling you gonna take your gun out there. No, I'm not gonna take my gun out there. All some crazy stuff, you know.
I wasn't even going to ask you, but I saw him, speaking with you. Obviously, you're to the left of his position, and he was able to make time for you. But the second that I said, he asked me, do they slant more? Does the Beacon slant more conservative or liberal? And I said definitely more liberal. Being honest, not misrepresenting myself. I'm going to have to make time for you later. I have to go. But he obviously has time to rub elbows with a Cincinnati City Councilman.
Well, one of the things, it's so interesting when I hear people say, you're to the left. But what happens is, the more you dialogue with somebody, the more you find how much you got in common.
I'll give you a chance to comment one more time, but you're not going to comment, all right, about the appropriateness of you blocking my camera or anybody else's camera in a public forum?
No.
Okay, all right.